G'day YouTube, how the heck we doing? It is Foul Play here, and we're back for the second match of this Pauper leg. We lost the die roll versus Lux, and this looks like a pretty tempting hand. No access to white mana yet currently, but we do have a Rancor, so we can enchant and start attacking. We're drawing to like 17 outs, and given like how strong this hand is, I think it's worth the risk to keep. And looks like we are versing the Fairy deck, and this is a pretty rough matchup, regardless of making our land drops in our colors or not. So we'll have to see how we go here. Opponent's scoring 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. And yeah, another pointless card off the top. All right, well, we'll try. All right, and here comes the attack. Attacking in for 1 point of damage. We'll see if they activate for Ninja. So this will be the Moon Circuit Hacker if they're tapping for 1. All right, no blocks. And there it is, Moon Circuit Hacker. That's not too bad because it's only a 2/1 and we can block the Moon Circuit Hacker. Hopefully we hit like a basic plains here. That would be the ideal world. I'm playing Faeries here now. We really need to be able to apply pressure this turn or else we just won't cut it. They'll just hold up counter magic for the rest of the game. And we've got a lot of dead cards in hand here. So unfortunately, it's just a forest, and our hand is loaded up with creatures. So after this like Scout and Rancor, we haven't got too much going. We'll offer the trade here for our opponent. They probably shouldn't take this. We shouldn't have played our forest until the second main. That was a mistake. Our opponent does actually take the trade, and I think that is a good thing for us. So we lose like a little bit on tempo, but so do they. And we both lose like 2 mana worth of tempo. It would have been a lot nicer if we were on the play this game. But then we wouldn't have had our land drops and it probably wasn't a keepable hand and we'd be mulliganing to at least 6. We're not attacking. We can't block until we resolve like a Silver Hunter Ledgewalker. So we're going to have to just take this one. I think our opponent chose not to discard a card, not to draw a card or discard a card then. All right, well, Abundant Growth off the top, and we do like to see that. This is likely going to get countered by Spell Starter Sprite. All right, well, we get access to white. That's kind of nice. Another land drop? Yep, okay. So Ethereal Armor is probably more important than the Rancor. They're totally holding a counter effect for this, aren't they? All right, well, let's just go for it anyway. Cross our fingers. Yeah, that didn't take too long. Counterspell out. Well, Counterspell is the better one to get removed from hand. So we will take that. 3 cards left in their hand. Very interesting. They can keep their Miscreant. Henceforth, no attacks from us. Because in this next turn, we need to apply pressure. We have to. Hopefully, they're just out of counter magic here. What we want to see is like a loot, and they're looting a creature or a land source. Opponent loots Snap to the graveyard of 1 mine, gets to draw a bunch of cards. I guess they drew that. Or else they probably would have played that pre-combat looking for a ninja creature. We just forced them to have counter magic. They might not. There's no way around it. We just have to go for it. All right, well, there's the counter spell, so that's very unfortunate. I guess alternative to that, we could like double Ledgewalker, in which case we've got a guaranteed blocker for Moon Circuit Hacker past counter magic. So I guess that would have been reasonable. Stop their advantage. Maybe draw like a Rancor, which eats the counterspell in the following turn. And opponent attacking in again. 5 cards in hand currently, and that's going to get worse after the Moon Circuit Hacker. It's like double of 1 mind, extra card draw, extra card filtering from the Moon Circuit triggers. Like, yeah, we're in a bad spot. All right, Ninja of Deep Hours out for the Fairy Miscreant. So a card draw and a loot. See our opponent discarding the island. Playing out the Fairy Miscreant. All right, well, if we top deck another Armadillo Cloak, maybe. It's not the best. think we attack here, and if our opponent blocks, we just reset completely on Silhana Ledgewalker. But we can set up the Silhana Ledgewalker with the Cartouche of Solidarity. Okay. So play the Silhana Ledgewalker. The only point where this line is sort of dodgy is if our opponent like counters the Rancor in the future. We could just take the... No, I think we go greedy here. I think we go greedy. Alright, so opponent with Snap on our Warrior token. So that one goes bye-bye. Still, we can block out the Ninja of Deep Hours. We get blown out pretty hard by Mutagenic Growth blocking in this manner. I think we just have to assume they don't have Mutagenic Growth. Alright, so there's the blocks. Our opponent, another Ninja of Deep Hours onto the battlefield. Alright, so we do take out one Ninja of Deep Hours. Opponent still gets a card draw, still gets a loot. The game continues. If we Fade Counter Magic, hit Armadillo Cloak, we can turn this one around. It's fairly unlikely though. So opponent discarding the island to the Moon Circuit Hacker, playing a Fairy Miscreant, holding up an island. Nope. Fairy Seer as well. Alright, let's go. Come on, top of the deck. Let's do this. Oh man, come on, dude. What a rubbish draw. Alright, we'll concede. Alright, so this is a Monty Blue Fairies deck, and this is a pretty rough matchup for us. So the counterspell effects that they have, counterspell, which we saw last game, and spell starter sprite, which counters equal to X, where X is the number of fairies that they control. They get card draw here, here, scry effect there, card draw here, and yeah, like it's a pretty rough one for us, honestly. From the sideboard, it only gets worse because they bring in cards like a Null, and potentially even other counter magic. It's not uncommon for them to have Spell Pierce either. And they could potentially as well have Curfew. So Curfew, each player returns a creature he or she controls to its owner's hand. So we're almost versing like an Edict deck in that response as well, if they choose to play that card. So the thing that makes this a difficult matchup is the fact we have to spend our turn 2 developing our mana in most games. Meaning that by the time that it hits turn 3 and we get to play stuff, they are holding up that counter magic type effect. Now, cards like Ancestral Mask, pardon me, can be better than like a smaller aura like an Ethereal Armor, because it gets around the spell starter sprite, but then you're also investing more mana for it to just inevitably get countered. So we definitely want Scattershot Archer in this matchup because it deals 1 damage to each creature with flying. It's literally in here for this matchup. I think as it goes a bit grindy, Cryphix's Insight is good as well. We probably take out Ancestral Mask, although it does give that buff against our opponent's Moon Circuit Hackers. We steal the enchantment typing and get the buff. So we're going to board in 2 Scattershot Archers, 2 Cryphix's Insight, taking out the Ancestral Mask and the Silhana Ledgewalker. Reminder as well, guys, if you enjoyed the video, find it entertaining or informative, please consider subscribing. Well, this hand does not have white mana, but it has Scattershot Archer, and that's definitely a keep from me. And we'll just lead out on this on turn 1, so it really nerfs any fairies that they can play. Alright, good old Scattershot Archer, ready to do the business. And I think we'll just go ahead and attack with it this turn. There's nothing too exciting there. We probably resolve Abundant Growth now. Forcing the Annul. They might want to spend Annul on like a better enchantment than this. Looks like that one gets to resolve. We find a land source. We'll just go ahead and play the Scout out though. Wow, we're pretty fortunate. Another Scattershot Archer off the top. So we're going to go ahead and Ethereal Armor over here. Our opponent looks to counter that effect. They have to have exactly counterspell the spell starter sprite we can kill in response. Oh wow, Spell Pierce. Well, I didn't play around Spell Pierce, did I? Alright, well that one will get us. Man, how annoying. Entirely my own fault as well. So we'll shame play out the other land. And here, I think we just attack with the Scout. No, they can't spell Stutter Sprite because they tap their mana for Spell Pierce. So we can attack with both. Hold up double Scattershot Archer from next turn. And we could play out the Bogle, but I think cycling the Ash Barrens and getting that deck thinning is probably slightly more important. Second main opponent with Faeries here now, getting that Scry effect. That's one card to the top, one card to the bottom. We'll land cycle this Ash Barrens. We'll get another Plains. And hopefully we start drawing some enchantments from this point forward. Yep, that's what we're looking for, right, people? So we'll just attack like this. We'll hold priority, activate our Scattershot Archer, kill the Faeries here. So this way we don't like lose out to Spell Stutter Sprite chump blocking, although with this Bogle over here, maybe we could go for that anyway. From next turn, they will be able to hardcast Ninja of the Deep Hours, which could be an issue for us. I don't really see a way out of that one, so we'll see what happens. I guess if they do that, the play is like just top deck an enchantment that gives first strike pretty much. Echoing Truth. All right, you got it, opponent. They're going to try and counter these when we replay them. All right, Fairy Miscreant from hand. And hopefully they don't have the next one for card draw. Looks like they're just holding up a counterspell effect. Awesome. Crewfix's Insight right on time, right when we actually need to spend our mana on something important. And there's Spell Stutter Sprite. Unfortunately enough. Alright, let's Crewfix's Insight here. Alright, well that's a fair bit of bricking, but Armadillo Cloak is a good one. Can Scattershot Archer now. And I think we attack with both creatures. Maybe just one creature. Yeah, let's control the number of fairies on the board. That also controls how effectively our opponent can ninja their creatures. And they are trading with the Miscreant, which means their ninjutsu would be on a Spell Stutter Sprite. Alright, and that's an interesting one. So let's go ahead and Rancor now on our Bogle. Force our opponent to potentially interact. Now we can just go to combat and attack. And if our opponent declares blockers, we can activate Scattershot Archer. Alright, now that our opponent has declared blockers, we'll just activate the Scattershot Archer now. This stops them from flashing another Spell Starter Sprite into play to chump block. Oh man, the blowout with Mutagenic Growth? That's kind of filthy. Well, they will trade unless they have a second Mutagenic Growth. There we go. There's the second Mutagenic Growth. One card left in hand for our opponent. What's the bet at Spell Pierce and they just like get us here? Alright, well, we're Team Scattershot Archer now. Unfortunately, no Vigilance. God damn it, man. Our opponent with the Annul. That's BS, dude. Well, they're out of cards in hand. The Spell Stutter Sprite can die next turn. Hopefully they don't hit a card draw effect here. And our opponent concedes to Scattershot Archer. That's kind of an interesting one, but I guess we'll take the victory. Maybe we should consider a Standard Bearer to force our opponent's Mutagenic Growth, not at them, but at us. I think that's probably worthwhile, taking out Silhana Ledgewalker. Mostly because we brought in 2 cards to counteract an opponent's 4 cards, and we saw how powerful the combat trick of playing Mutagenic Growth was. As far as cards to sideboard out, I might just sideboard out a Lotus Petal because we don't want to go too low on number of enchantments given we've got the Crewfix's Insights. We want to have as many live hits for those as possible. Opponent begins with 7. This could really do with a first strike aura, but I don't really think that we can mulligan this. Not with like 2 scattershot archers in the deck. Maybe if we had 3, we could consider it. Cave of Temptation is a good way to buff our creature as well. And we're not too far off of that. Cartouche of Solidarity off the top. I think we just go for this now. Force the Spell Pierce, force the Annul. Alright, that one resolves. We get first strike. I'm definitely happy about having first strike resolved. And an Abundant Growth off the top. Not the best draw. We'll just look to start cantripping these. If our opponent wants to counter one of these, they can. They're like way less important than our other stuff. Oh, hello, baby. Alright, well, we'll just continue with this because I can't see why our opponent would... we don't want to give them the 2-mana counter on Rancor and then have Scattershot Archer get countered afterwards. Alright, so they do actually counter the second one of these, which I think is a little bit interesting. I think countering the first one has as much relevance, but I guess our opponent wants to get tempo and a better aura. And opponent attacking with the Spell Starter Sprite now. No blocks from us. There it is. Ninjutsu Moon Circuit Hacker hits the board. So that's not too bad. We just block with the Warrior token next turn. And Fairy Seer second main? Interesting. Do they have a null? They'd have to have a null if they're doing this line, right? We get a free resolution of Scattershot Archer. Oh my god, Armadillo Cloak. If only. Alright, let's check for a null. Playing around Spell Pierce this time with the Cave pre-casting Rancor. There's the Annul. I mean, that's annoying, but at least it's off the board. We'll Scattershot Archer, we'll attack with our Bogle, keep some sort of pressure, and then the Warrior token can block. Alright, opponent is attacking now. And just with the Faeries here. Alright, well, we can't do much about that, but we can... Well, we can't even activate our Scattershot Archer. It's got Summoning Sickness. Ninja of Deep Hours. Alright, well this gives us a window to resolve our Armadillo Cloak. They have to have exactly Counterspell now. I guess a Null as well would work. But it doesn't line up nicely for Spell Starter Sprite anymore, given the active on Scattershot. Oh baby, Ethereal Armor off the top. Well, I am a greedy boy, so I'm going to do greedy things and jam Armadillo Cloak. Yeah, not surprisingly, our opponent with specifically Counterspell. How annoying. We attack with our Vigilance token, leave back blockers on the other sides. This Bogle can block the Ninja, the Warrior token can block the Moon Circuit Hacker. I'm okay with that board state. Opponent hard casting a Moon Circuit Hacker. That's kind of annoying. But I guess at least they're not spending their mana on something else, right? Alright, no attacks from them. Very interesting. Another land off the top. Not really what we're looking for. We do just have to put this Ethereal Armor on the Bogle. And I'm not sure if we actually have an attack here. I think we don't. I think we just have really good interaction, right? Because like an attack here costs 1 card draw and a couple of loots, and it's just not worth it. Alright, well let's just land cycle here. I guess we can get a second white source. We'll play that white source, and if we hit a mana next turn, we can active Cave. Opponent plays Fairy Seer, and we're okay with that. They get the Scry effect. It's a bit of filtering, but nothing too menacing. One to the top, one to the bottom. Alright, so end of turn, we'll activate the Archer, get rid of that Fairy Seer our opponent has. Keep the board under control, and a Cartouche off the top. Not really sure that changes anything. Let's go in on the Scattershot Archer this time. It's vulnerable to a bounce effect, but I want an extra blocker here anyway, so that's okay. And I guess we're at a point where we can attack with our Bogle, so we should, because now we have 3 blockers on the ground. Only losing out to mutagenic growths, of course, but that will harm our opponent's life totals, I suppose, so do what we can. Opponent Hardcastle of 1 Mind for 3 mana. And they pass to us. Sentinel's Eyes off the top. Yeah, well, that's what I've been waiting for. Let's go all in, baby. I am keen. We'll attack with the Bogle. We force some description of blocker. Because of priority, if they flash in the Spell Starter Sprite, we can kill it before they block with it. So they have to lose a Moon Circuit Hacker or a Ninja. Alright, there we go. Moon Circuit Hacker blocks. You love to see it. And our opponent concedes. Well, there's no way we would have won that without Scattershot Archer, so very grateful to have this card show up in Games 2 and Games 3 after only having 2 copies in the sideboard. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Be sure to let me know what you thought of it in the comments section below. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you then.